What's up, guys? Tucker Singer here, S&S Smithing. We're back once again with a welding review. So, what we got? Alrighty, guys. So, our friends over at Arccaptain sent us a TIG kit here to go with the MiG 200. I don't currently have any argon gas to run TIG with, so we'll open this up, check out the build quality of it, see how I like it. And then we also got here the Arccaptain 160. It is a small inverter stick welder they have. This thing is so small. Look how big. This is still back packaged, by the way, so it is small. The packing slip said the whole package was like almost 12 pounds. So this is going to be a real baby welder. It's still supposed to be 220 or 110. So we'll get in and test that out. They did not give me this through the channel. They had on their Facebook page, they had a giveaway, and I entered it and I won it on their giveaway. So we're going to test this out and then we'll go from there. Alright, guys, here we got our Arc 160 stick welder, and we have our TIG torches here to go over. So first, since they sent me this through for the channel, I'll open that up and we'll check it out a little bit. So first up, we got our TIG leads. Like I said, I still got to purchase some argon for this to run it on the machine. I also want to get a spool gun so I can do aluminum. But we got blue 2% lithiated tungsten, two sizes. We have the 332 and then we have the 1/16. I have not actually ran the blue tungsten percent before myself, but sometimes the color is just the manufacturer picking it, not so much a different mixture. So we'll test that out whenever we get it up and going. I do like the gold tungsten a lot. At work we run red and green fairly often here, so let's open this up. This is our torch. Comes with a whole bag of consumables there. So this is a typical scratch start TIG torch. We have our gas knob here. What style is this? WP17 series torch. It is not a flex head. It does have this little nylon cover to cover up our gas line and our power cable. Seems to be pretty sturdy. Again, this is the 35 DINS connector plug, so this will hook into my OmniPro. It's pretty common connection. I prefer this over the Tweetco style, the inserts. But no, it looks good. It is probably about a 10-foot lead here. Nice gas fittings. It does have crib fit, so you can replace that if you don't have that style. But yeah, everything's pretty common, pretty straightforward. Should work fine. I would change out this nylon cover here though, because it does seem like it is going to be very prone to melting. What all we come with here? It comes with cups size 6, 5, and 4. And it comes with a collet body, 3 collets. It comes with a stubby cap and the long tail end, so pretty versatile little kit. Comes with the instruction manual here. Seems alright. Well, we'll dig into that in a future video once I get some argon again. So we'll get argon and then we'll go over the TIG stuff here. The main video is the Arc 160. Again, I won this through one of their company giveaways on their Facebook page. So right off the bat, once we open it, comes with our 220 to 110 adapter here. We aren't really going to use this in this video because most of my main building, house and shop outlets aren't 20 amp breakers. They're 15, and most of them are pretty old, so they're going to trip once we start pulling some serious power. At some point here, I'll take a lot of these welders that we got and we'll start running them off the generator, see how well they hold up on that. If they kill the generator or if the generator kills them, we'll see. We got our ground lead here. It is cheaper quality one. Again, this whole machine, I went on their website, checked it out. It is about $100 machine. So I guess the jumper cable style ground clamp is to be expected. A big thing I really don't like, again, this is just because it's a low amp rated machine, but it has the small DINS connectors. So like if you remember on the TIG style, it was about 2 times the size of this. So this is, I think this is, yeah, this is the 25. Those ones were the 35. So this machine, I can only use these leads on it, which is kind of unfortunate. But it is what it is. Again, it's only a 160 amp machine. So we have our stinger here. It's got a really tight spring clamp, which is good, tighter than the MiG 200 one was. But the overall construction is kind of out of some cheap, chintzy plastic. Again, this is to be expected. This is on their website for $100. So if it works, that's a pretty good price. But the main thing is it's got good spring tension, which is really good. That'll help give us a good connection. It comes with everybody's favorite little wire brush and chipping hammer thing here. We'll throw that aside, we won't use that. Comes with a shoulder strap, because again, this is a small little unit. Now here, the main part here is the welder. Now it is all fully bubble wrapped in there, so it's packaged really well, as they always do. So, there's the machine. Again, this whole thing, said and done, probably weighs maybe, if I hook up all the little cables to it, probably like 10 pounds. So it's real small. It is got the 220 end on it. So now this is basically the exact same machine as their Arc 200, but that's a 200 amp machine. This is their Arc 60. This is like the smallest sticker machine they have. It can run on 110 or 220. It does have, I did open it up and check out the manual real quick. It did have a nicely written manual. So let's plug this baby in, get her set up. Over here I have a wide variety of rods and sizes that we're going to try. So I got some 1/8 inch 7018, 6013, I got some 6011 here, I got 332, 6013, 7018, and then I got some 6010, 1/8 inch, and then 532 hard facing rods here to test it out, just like we did on the MiG 200. So I'll shut her down, get everything ready to go, and we'll be back. Set up here, I got the machines hooked up, I got the ground clamp to our table. We got our stick lead put in. I've got to turn it on. So this does have quite a bit of features on it. It does have like arc force, hot start, that sort of thing. So let's fire her up here. Alright. Alright, so one weird thing right off the bat, and again, I know I'm kind of beating on this $100 machine a bit, but I don't know, just some things maybe they might want to switch up a bit. It is very affordable. It does go all the way down to 20 amps. We are plugged into 220, like I said. We're just going to go with that, and then there's a lot of variables on 110. Different people's circuit breakers may be more abused than others, so we go all the way up to 20, and then we max out at 160. One weird thing is that the knob does not have any straight off, like cutoffs, so you can just sit here and spin it forever. We have our weld mode. We can switch it to lift arc TIG. Synergic stick, where we go off of the diameter of our electrodes, and it'll set the amperages, I believe, which is sort of strange. MMA, which is regular stick mode. So those are our 3 modes there. We can select our electrode sizes up here at the top. It's all a metric yet again, so is 1.6 mil, 2 mil, 2.5, and 3.2. So not bad. We can do our function mode. I gotta exit out of that. Okay, function mode. We have our hot start. So what that means is we give it a number here, and it goes from a percentage of what our base setting is. So for the hot start, if I set it up to, let's say, 25%, and I have my main amperage rating set at 100, what happens is as soon as I start that electrode, strike the arc, it's going to come up with a force of 125 amps, because it's going to add 25% of our arc to get it hot, burning hotter, and have a good start, and keep it from sticking right off the bat. So that's kind of neat that they have that. We'll probably keep it right around 25. What other mode we got here? Hot start. We have our dig, which will come in handy whenever we're running our bigger rods. This might not be able to dig or arc force, so that gives the force of the arc, just kind of lets it burn in a little bit hotter. That'll go up to 60% as well. So our amperages, so hot start, let's set it at 25. 25%. Our dig, we'll put it at about 5. And then our main amperages, we're going to start off here with our 332 6013s. 6013s are great rods. They are low penetrating. And at this size, you can, and well, they don't care what machine you run them on. They will do whatever. You can run them on AC, DC positive, DC negative. So if a machine can't run 6013, it's not going to really run anything, because these don't care what you put them to, and they should run just fine. So we have the 332 6013s. This is a baby rod, and you already don't run these super crazy hot, so we'll probably run this guy at, let's see here. Let's go off the box settings on this here. Yeah, so 80 amps for this is the max on it. So I was going to probably run this probably about 75 amps on here. So let's go 75, because we are running on 1/2 inch, so this is pretty thick stuff, so it's going to suck up our heat a good bit. So let me throw on my gloves and hood, and we'll start welding. Now this machine does not have a VRD in it, which is a variable voltage rating, which means that this is always constantly live. A lot of machines have a safety switch to shut it on and off the current to your positive. This does not, so that means this is always live, and wherever you put this, it can arc off. So keep that in mind. Let's get welding here. Alright, so first off here, I shut off the hot start and the dig action, because for how small this rod is, it just kind of started blowing it away, which is why our start there was kind of bleh. So we'll start it again and run it, see how it goes. We might dial back our amperages, see how this machine runs. Alrighty, so we got some slag peel, which is always fun. We know we got our settings dialed in pretty well. It did kind of run kind of cold a little bit. as you guys can see here. It's got pretty well here in the middle. At first it was a little cold, acted kind of funny in here, but overall not horrible. Let's turn up our arc force a little here and then see if that helps anything. Hot start, so we'll turn our arc force up to probably about 10, and then our hot start to about, we'll go 20 this time. How about that? Okay. And we'll keep, we'll dial it back up here, back to 75 on our regular amperages, and we'll run one more. 332. It seems to be handling 332s okay, which is good, and it's running the 6013s all right, which it should, considering these things should be able to run on whatever you hook them up to. You could run these off of a car battery and they wouldn't care. So, like I said, if it couldn't run this, we were just going to stop the video here. But so far, not bad. The amperage range on this up to the 160, if it can actually put out that much force. You can weld up to 1/4 inch and be fine, single pass. You can do 1/2 inch beveled out and stuff. I wouldn't push it much farther than that. So we'll run a second pass here, right below our left. Again, kind of ropey. Running a little cold. How about we just turn her up to 80? Go from there. Here we go, one more again. A bit better. Yeah, so I do think this machine kind of runs a little bit colder than the display. So as you can see, we got a better bead turning out there, nice flat weld tied into the previous. We'll run the rest of that rod out here, and then we'll move on to the 7018. Just to kind of help out, let's go up to 85 and then see how that goes. We'll run out our stubs here on our 6013s. And then we'll hop on to our 7018. But overall, it doesn't seem to be running too bad. So, as you can see there, it's running well. I think the machine is a little off with its display on how much heat it's actually running. Now again, I have the arc force and stuff very low, but still it should be a little bit more accurate. But again, this is a $100 machine, and it is running the rods quite nicely once you get it dialed in. So we'll crank her up a bit, probably help her up to maybe about 100, and then we'll switch over to the 7018. Alrighty guys, so we got out the 332 7018s. We turned up the machine to about 100, so we're starting to get a little bit hotter. We're going to slowly build our way up to those hard facing rods here. And again, the if I didn't mention it, the duty cycle on this machine is apparently 60% duty cycle at 160 amps. So that's pretty decent for this machine. A lot of ones in this kind of price range are maybe 30%, which means you can run it 3 minutes full bore out of a 10-minute cycle without letting it have to cool off. So that's pretty impressive. One thing about this machine is the exhaust fan is constantly running, so it is fairly loud. But let's hop on to our 7018s here. Ran pretty much the same way as the 6013, just kind of drag it along. We're going to start right below our last weld and just keep padding it out. Seem to be running a little cold. We are at 100 amps, which should be plenty sufficient to run 332 7018s. I mean, it ran it good. It just was kind of lagging. The puddle wasn't as fluid as I usually like it to be. But again, we didn't get a bad weld here. So our base weld right down in here. Let me pick her up so you guys can see a bit better. So there is our 7018 weld right there. That last one, pretty good. Flat bead. Turned out pretty nice. It did run that a little bit smoother than it did the 6013. Again, right at 100 amps, should be running it fine. It does seem to be kind of a little cold. So how about we hop in, turn up our arc force a little bit. Put it at 25%. At 100 amps, we'll run that. See if that's any better. I mean, that is a nice speed. I just thought the way it ran was a little bit on the cold side for me. So, right up on the hood. Battles in the air, on land and sea. First to fight for right and freedom, and to keep up. No, it's running smooth now. Again, I do think you just gotta adjust. It seems to be running probably about 10 or so amps, a little bit colder than it should be. But I think we can hop up to 1/8 inch. Well, guys, so we have hopped up to our 1/8 inch 6013 rods. Should be able to run these at that 100 amps. If not, we'll bump it up to 110 and run it. Above that, you're kind of starting to cook these rods a little bit, but we'll run it, see what happens. We are proud to claim the title of United States. So, not bad. Ran fairly alright. Again, a little bit on the cold side. So let's bump her up. We'll go up to 110. Try running that again. Nothing horrible though. So we spin her around there. This last bead here is our last weld. Again, not horrible. A little cold. So let's keep her going. It's one of the 7018s I forgot to put away. So we'll run another one here at this new amperage range. Blue of the seven seas, gold of God's great sun, let these our colors be till all of time. Our leads are starting to get a little warm. Not bad. That wasn't horrible. That seemed to run a little bit cold. I think we're starting to get closer to the end of the duty cycle on this machine. And our leads are starting to kind of warm up a bit. I can kind of smell melty plastic. But not bad. Use our garbage little scrubber here. So guys, right in here is our weld. Pull up my glove here so I can lift that up, show you a bit better. Not bad. A little bit on the... Started running kind of slow on the end there. But not bad. So we'll bump her up. We'll probably go up to, let's say, 1 120 for our 7018. Let's see how that goes. Alright, so we got the 7018 rods out, 1/8 inch. So as you can see, these are kind of the biggest rods we've run so far. 120. We might bump up to 130 just because of how this thing's been acting. On normally, you should be able to run this on 115, no problem. In flat anyway. Then your amperages will vary depending on what positions and joints you're welding. But in this application, 115 should work fine. But we're going to go up to 130 just because of the way this machine's been acting. Seems to like to be cold. So we're going to run hot intentionally. Kind of clip them onto things, but overall I'm pretty pleased with how that ran it. Had decent control. I think going up to the 130 was a good call because it ran the bead right as it needed to here. Nice plain weld there. Let me bring it closer to the camera here without burning my fingers off there. So the weld ran well. We'll do another one. We might wire wheel this real quick. We're starting to get a little junky up here. For anyone wondering, yes, I did take the flapper wheel polish off the mill scale and stuff, buff it up real good before I started this to give this machine the best chance. And it seems to be doing fairly well, so we'll pop that one in for our shorts. Then we're going to hop on to another bead here. Hood back on. But overall, it seems to be running fairly smooth. Didn't stay overly straight. We kind of curved at the end there, but not bad. It runs these pretty smoothly. 130 seems to run fine. The arc stability on this machine is pretty good. Nothing runs crazy or rough or sporadic so far. So I mean, overall, it's a smooth running little machine. For $100, if you're just wanting something that you can carry and throw in the back of a car, take around with you on the farm, weld some stuff up, it'll do it. I think so. So now let's get into running some of the 6011. See how those rods will run on this machine. They are old, so I won't blame the machine if it runs funky. I do have those 6010s, which I doubt it'll run, and then we'll get onto the hard facing rod. Okay guys, so we got some of these 6011 out. These should be able to run on this. Again, these are old rods, kind of some of them in the box. The flex is kind of peeling off a bit. So some of them are a little bit rough for wear, but we'll give it a shot. Okay, we're not going to do a drag like we have been with the 7018 and 6013s. We're going to do a little bit of a whip or a little circle, whichever one you prefer to do. So we'll get that going. Yeah, I think these rods might be too old to run well. Alright, well, we won't talk about that bit, really. These rods, they don't want to run, so I'm going to pitch them. Like it'll spark and then just goes right out. I don't think it's the machine. We'll see on the Well, we'll try one more. We'll swap out our settings here a little bit. Hot start. Let's remove, since it's already a digging rod. $100. Dial that back 95. We'll try that now. Give it another go. Sure, them rods are dead. Because it would just flare, go out, flare, go out. And it didn't seem like anything the machine was doing. Oh, no, almost no one. Proud of there. It's a pretty ugly weld. Our plate's starting to get a little warm for me to hold, so let's shimmy it around that way. As you can see there, it would run it for maybe about a whip, and then whenever time you'd come back in, it just cut out. I think it's because how old they were. It seemed like the flux just kind of melted off right into the puddle and snuffed it all out. I'm not going to blame the machine, because whenever it could go, it would run. It was really violent whenever it ran compared to like how everything normally is. So I'm assuming that is the old rod's fault more so than the machine. We'll hop over to the 6010s and so again, not horrible, not the best either, but she's running it. Let me run a couple more. You see, it is, alright, so I'm thinking the 6011 had to be the rods, because those ran pretty well. Let me run another one or two here, and then it ran those 6010 fairly well. That plate's getting really warm. But, yeah, it ran them pretty good. Huh. Very surprised. I guess, well, before I try to kill it, just go an overall health on the machine here. Alright guys, so we just finished running all of our regular standard rods, so we should, I'm surprised this thing ran the 610. That fact alone for $100, buy it. And to be honest with you, this kind of makes me want to spring and buy their Arc 200 at some point. The one machine I have been eyeballing that these guys make is the AC/DC TIG machine. I really want to get my hands on that at some point, just to try it out. It seems like a decent budget AC/DC TIG welder, which those are tough to come by, that actually run well. And everything I've tested by these guys so far has been above and beyond my expectations. So, really well. Leads, holding up pretty well. Again, we haven't really pushed this thing to its limits. I think the hottest we were running was 130, which the way this machine seems to be running was more like 120, 115 maybe. Runs smooth. We've been getting a lot of slag peel on all of our welds, which is good. Ran 6010, which is phenomenal. A lot of machines, like these inverter style machines, can't handle 6010 rods. So it ran them pretty much just fine. No issues. So that's great. Next thing, we're going to hop onto our hard facing rods. We're going to crank this baby all the way up to a 160, and we're going to just run them. Either the machine's going to shut off, we're going to burn up our leads, or we're going to kill the welder, or we're just going to have to stop, because I think the machine's handled enough. But so far, for a $100 machine that weighs 9 pounds basically, you can't go wrong. This thing's pretty cool. Runs on the 220 or 110. So we're going to hop into these 532 hard facing rods. So these big boy rods here, we shouldn't need more than that. So this is above and beyond the capabilities this machine should be able to run. It's going to probably fight it. I think at what this machine's running, we're probably going to be close to the minimum of what these size rods are going to want to run at. So we'll see if it can even run them, and if it can handle, let's see how far it'll take it. Let's spin our little piece over here, and we'll just start padding up our beads here. Up on here, crank our function modes all the way up. Alright, she's as maxed out juice wise as this machine will go. Let's see if she can handle it. Alrighty guys, well, that's the limit of this machine. So, guys, so final view on this baby. I think it's great. I think whenever last I looked, it was $100. Like I said, I won this off of one of their giveaways. Figured we already did a video on the Meg 200, so we might as well do the Arc 60. I haven't seen too many videos on this machine. I've seen the Big Brother, the 200, reviewed a lot, and it seems like a great little machine too. This thing packs some power behind its little body here. Like I said, for $100 you can't complain for what you get on this. It runs real smooth. It can run the 6010 really well, which is a big surprise. A lot of machines can't do that. Like that Omni Pro I have really can't handle 6010 well at all. And then if you want to talk like Harbor Freight machines that are kind of comparable to this, they have the Chicago Electric. It's like a little shoebox size welder. Same sort of size, except that one's only on 110. I do have it here somewhere, so I'm planning on doing a side-by-side challenge between Arccaptain and the Harbor Freight welder. So we'll have the Omni Pro versus the MiG 200. Then we'll have this versus the Chicago Electric. So that's something you guys want to see. But all in all, for the capabilities you can, portability of this machine, if you just want to start getting into welding, I strongly suggest this. It is a DC machine, which is really great. It lets you use all sorts of rods from, like we did here today. HC machines, they'll run a lot of rods. You just got to get the specialty designed rods for them. The fact that you can run it on 110 is great. It is limiting your power, though. It'll probably make this machine probably drop down to maybe 100 amps if you're lucky. But, and you'll probably still be blowing breakers left and right. But if you need to, you can, which is nice. The fact that it has 220 is great. That's what I'll pretty much always be running this off of anyway. Like I do with all my other machines. Like I said, I'll probably do videos with this hooked up to the generator, and same thing with the MiG 200 and the Omni Pro and all that. Because I do use the welder to weld the generator on welding sometimes. So we'll pull that out, do that at some point. But overall, I think it's a great machine for what you pay for. Like I said, are there things I don't like about it? Yeah, sure. You're going to have that with something in this price range. I mean, this whole time didn't hit the duty cycle on it, and we didn't stop welding. We just went boom, 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 all the way through all the rods. No issues with it other than the 6011s, which I'm pretty sure it was my rod's fault because they got a lot of moisture in them. The flex really just, I can just roll it between my fingers and they flake off. So I thought it was long shots they'd run, but we'd see, give it a try. So that's unfortunate. But anyway, that happens. Yeah, for the Arc 160, I strongly recommend it, guys. Like I said, if you're more in the professional setting or you are a little bit more serious in welding, this might not be the machine for you. It can run what you need it to for small jobs. Like I said, we pushed it to the limits a bit today. I wouldn't weld anything more than we did with the 7018. You can run 8-inch 7018 for how long, I don't know. Like I said, the longevity of this machine is a mystery. The leads held up pretty well. They didn't start melting off like the MiG 200 did, but then again, we were running probably a good 30-40 amps less than what it was, and ran well. No issues for a kid wanting to just get into it or tinker around the garage. This will work fine. $100, I don't think you can beat it. So I strongly recommend this Arccaptain Arc 160. I'm sure the 200, if you want to pay just a little bit more money for a machine that's pretty much the same thing but a little more oomph to it, I'd spring for that one if you have the cash, if we're going with that brand. I haven't used it, but considering they're basically the same machine, just one's got a little bit more power, built a little bit heavier, it should work fine. But yeah, and also one thing to note, the 200 does come with the bigger DINS connector, so the more compatible ones, these ones are small, but again, this is a small little light powered welder, so it is what it is. So guys, remember, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Please let me know in the comments if you'd like to see some of these welders going head to head, like the Harbor Freight versus Arccaptain welders. I think that'd be interesting to do. Let me know what you thought. Remember, guys, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Forge your fate.